I think there's an internal EU story, and then there's a story between the European Union and the Global South. So internally in the European Union, I think it's really a question of conveying the right narrative. If actually Ukraine's struggle is portrayed, in my view, as it should be, as an anti-colonial struggle against Russia, well then this is a language that the Global South, I think, understands much better. Now, in order to get that narrative right, I think it's also a prerequisite to actually address the food security crisis that this war is unleashing.
Can we expect the solidarity of the European Union to last much longer if the war continues?
If our public opinions are being told that the reason why there is a rising cost of living, there is a rising economic cost, is the product of, for instance, sanctions, well then solidarity is not going to prevail. If the war in Ukraine is portrayed as the result of Russia's security concerns not being taken into account, NATO expansion, geopolitics, if you like, well, very unlikely that the Global South is going to feel that solidarity towards Ukraine. If the narrative is actually the right narrative, meaning that the economic cost is a cost of a war, which sanctions are aiming to stop, well, then you can expect that solidarity to continue.
What are the main challenges for Europe posed by the war in Ukraine?
Well, I would say that the main challenge, especially considering that this war is unlikely to end anytime soon, is sustaining unity within the European Union. So if and as our political debates, our public opinions start feeling a certain degree of fatigue with this war, are we going to be able to sustain the necessary unity in order to do the things that we have to do? Moving forward on the enlargement process, moving forward towards energy independence, moving forward on sanctions. The Ukraine war has provided an opportunity to move forward on asylum and migration, to move forward on defense, and to revive enlargement as a political project. Now, are we seizing that opportunity? I would say that so far this is a positive story. Are we going to be able to sustain that? Well, that is, I think, the challenge that we face.
Is the voice of Central Europe going to be strengthened or weakened within the EU as a result of this war?
I think it will be strengthened, but the question mark is to whether that strengthened voice will be different from the voice of the past. I mean, it is quite clear that, in a sense, the line coming from Western Europe and Southern Europe of we need to engage with Russia, well, that proved that failed. Many in Western Europe and Southern Europe at times kind of looked at East Europeans as being a little bit obsessed, if you like, by Russia. Well, actually, rather than obsessed, they actually proved to know Russia better than what many of us did.
What will, in your opinion, be the impact of the refugee influx coming from Ukraine?
The longer the war goes on, the more, therefore, necessarily refugees and refugee families are integrated, in a sense, in their host societies, the less likely it is as time goes by that they will actually return. A way for us to encourage not only the coming and going eventually from Ukraine, but actually the greater integration, is to make the offer that we have given Ukraine now, meaning that of temporary protection, a permanent one.